welcome to the deep dive. So much of working in public service is really about trying to make things better for the people we serve. And today, we're going to explore a really powerful way to do just that. It's called service design.
Right.
And we're digging into how the Canadian Digital Service, the CDS, looks at it.
Think of it like getting a backstage pass, to see how the CDS is trying to create government services that actually feel, well, human.
Human, exactly.
We're talking about shifting away from, those frustrating processes towards experiences that are simpler, seamless, and maybe even delightful for citizens.
Delightful. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
And our intel today, it's straight from the source. This is internal CDS documentation, stuff their own design teams use.
Yeah, it's their playbook, basically. Helps keep everyone aligned on, building good services.
So our mission, really, is to pull out those key insights and show you, our listeners in public service, how this stuff can be a game changer in your own work, no matter what your role is.
Exactly. It's a peek behind the curtain at how this team, dedicated to improving those citizen-government interactions, actually thinks and operates. It's practical stuff, built on real experience.
Okay, let's dive in then.
Yeah.
What is service design really? In the CDS world, I mean, we're not just talking about making websites look nice, are we?
No, not at all. CDS views service design more as a fundamental mindset.
A mindset.
Yeah, a way of thinking that they believe should be woven into the daily work of government teams. Service designers, in this picture, they're kind of like champions for the people using the services,
Okay.
constantly reminding teams, hey, focus on the user.
So keeping that focus squarely on the citizen experience.
Absolutely. And their definition, it's pretty comprehensive. They say it's planning and organizing people, infrastructure, communication, and material components of a service to improve its quality and the interaction between the service provider and the people who use that service.
Wow.
So yeah, looking at all the moving parts.
People, infrastructure, communication, that sounds like it covers, well, everything.
It really does. The scope touches on every single touch point someone might have with a government service.
Like filling out a form.
Yeah, or, talking to someone on the phone, getting a letter in the mail. It bridges digital and offline stuff, and it could lead to improving existing services or sometimes creating totally new ones.
Okay, that gives us a good handle on the what. Now, how do they actually do this? The CDS has these core principles, right?
6 guiding principles, and honestly, each one offers a really valuable lens for public servants.
Let's hear them.
First up, human-centered. This is all about making absolutely sure we're considering the experience of everyone affected by a service.
Everyone, not just the main user.
Exactly. Not just the person clicking the button, but anyone who might feel the impact. Think about those ripple effects of a policy,
That's a great point. A bad service doesn't just annoy the user. It can cause headaches for, support staff, other departments.
Precisely. Okay, second principle, collaborative. CDS really emphasizes actively involving people from different teams, different backgrounds, different functions, right through the design process.
Breaking down silos.
Yeah, basically, getting those different perspectives early on. Because, let's face it, government's complex. Things are connected.
Absolutely. No single person has the whole picture, especially with services that cut across different areas.
For sure. The third principle is iterative. This one's key, I think, especially in government. Service design isn't about delivering some perfect final thing on day one.
Right.
It's more of an ongoing process, exploring, adapting, experimenting. Think, like small changes, get feedback, refine, repeat.
That sounds realistic.
It is.
Right.
Especially when big projects can sometimes miss the mark because needs change, right? Iteration lets you adjust course, make sure you're not pouring resources into something that isn't quite right.
Takes the pressure off perfection. Focuses on getting better over time. I like that.
Me too. Okay, next is sequential. This principle stresses seeing a service as a sequence, a series of connected steps from the citizen's point of view.
The journey.
Exactly. Mapping out that whole end-to-end journey, making sure it flows smoothly, because people rarely have just one single interaction. It's usually a sequence.
So putting yourself in their shoes, walking through the whole thing.
They got it. Then there's real. This one's about grounding the work in, reality.
Okay.
It means actually talking to people, understanding their real needs, building realistic prototypes to get real feedback, showing the value of things like, ease of use in tangible ways, a less abstract planning, more real-world testing.
Less theory, more hands-on. What actually works for people day to day.
That's the core of it. And finally, the sixth principle, holistic. This pushes for considering the needs of all stakeholders, including government itself, importantly sustainably, through the whole service lifecycle and across different bits of government.
Looking at the big picture.
Yeah, making sure a fix in one spot doesn't break something else somewhere else.
These principles really do lay a strong foundation. Very citizen-focused.
Yeah.
So how does CDS turn these principles into, like, actual work?
The documentation mentioned a methodology, 4 quadrants.
Yes, exactly. They frame their methodology around 4 key skill areas, or quadrants: coordinate, communicate, create, and conclude.
Okay.
And what's really crucial here is that these aren't like rigid departments. And these skills, they're not just for people with service designer in their title.
Ah, so anyone can use these.
Anyone on a multidisciplinary team can, and probably should, develop these skills to help improve services. That's the idea.
Okay, let's break them down. First quadrant, coordinate. What skills fall under that?
Right. Coordinate.
Yeah.
You've got skills like coaching. In this context, it means championing that user-centered mindset within the team, helping others see why it matters.
Being the user's advocate internally?
Sort of, yeah. Then there's design strategy, thinking about future possibilities, outlining ideal solutions, and business design. This is super important, making sure solutions are actually viable and feasible within government constraints. Right, it needs to be practical.
Definitely. That means working closely with product managers, service owners.
So bringing user needs and government reality together. What kind of activities happen in Coordinate?
Things like education running workshops, maybe coaching colleagues on the principles, also prioritization work, perhaps using user story mapping.
Exactly.
It's a visual way to break down user needs into smaller chunks. Or maybe evaluating value versus complexity. And definition work, like using a concept canvas to nail down a service idea or an ecosystem map to see all the players involved.
Who do they work with?
The whole product team, really. UX folks, product managers, service owners, other stakeholders.
Got it. Okay, quadrant 2, communicate. Sounds pretty self-explanatory, but what's the focus?
It is, but it's critical. Key skills here are storytelling, painting that clear picture of the whole service experience, highlighting pain points, showing potential improvements.
Making it relatable.
Exactly. Then visualization. This is huge for getting everyone on the same page. Things like user journey maps, visually showing the user's steps, or service blueprints, which map out all the behind-the-scenes stuff too.
Blueprints sound useful for complexity.
Totally. And finally, facilitation, skillfully guiding those co-creation sessions, workshops, getting input, generating ideas together.
Making abstract ideas concrete, helping everyone see the user experience. What activities would we see here?
Lots of mapping. Those journey maps, empathy maps to understand user feelings, maybe even mindset maps.
Well,
also storyboarding to show the experience step by step. And running collaborative workshops, co-creation sessions, design jams, that kind of thing.
who's involved in communicating?
Design and research teams, obviously,
Yeah.
the wider product team, and crucially, external stakeholders, citizens.
Makes sense. Okay, halfway through, let's talk create. This sounds like where the solutions actually start getting built.
That's right. This is about generating and refining solutions. Key skills. Ideation, brainstorming, coming up with innovative ideas.
The fun part.
Maybe. Then prototyping. Developing draft versions could be a simple sketch, could be a clickable digital thing to explore concepts, get feedback early.
Testing ideas quickly.
Yep. And interaction design, designing how people interact with the service, whether it's digital screens or physical elements.
So ideas become more concrete, more testable. What activities are involved?
Brainstorming sessions, lots of sketching, creating wireframes, those basic screen layouts and mock-ups, which are more visually polished. Also rapid prototyping, building quick versions to get fast feedback.
And who collaborates here?
Research, content design, interaction design, and definitely the development teams who have to actually build it.
Right. Okay, last quadrant. Conclude. What's the focus here? It sounds like wrapping up.
It's more about learning and understanding. Conclude is about making sense of everything. Core skills are research gathering, that direct feedback from users about their behaviors, needs, motivations.
Okay, to people again.
Always. Then synthesis.
Yeah.
That's taking all the research data and figuring out what it actually means. Finding the key insights.
Making sense of the noise.
Exactly. And finally, systems thinking. Taking in that step back, looking at the bigger picture, how all the pieces connect and influence each other.
So looking back, analyzing, using insights for the future, seeing the whole system, what activities are typical here?
Conducting user research interviews, surveys, usability tests, doing system mapping to visualize all the components and relationships, using techniques like affinity mapping to sort through qualitative data and find patterns.
Who works together on this?
Design and research teams again, the whole product team, and external stakeholders too to keep it grounded.
Wow, this four-quadrant model really shows the range of skills needed for good service design. And you said earlier, these aren't just for designers. How can, the average public servant apply this thinking?
That really is the key takeaway for you listening, I think. Even without service designer in your title, just understanding these principles, maybe trying out some of these skills, can massively improve how you approach your work.
How so? Give me an example.
Well, think about it. Before you launch a new internal process, could you maybe adopt a more human-centered view? Think how it'll really impact your colleagues.
Okay.
Could you collaborate better with other teams by maybe, I don't know, sketching out the workflow together, visualizing it? Could you iterate on an existing procedure based on feedback you've heard?
Yeah, I see. Even small shifts.
Exactly. Even small shifts in mindset can lead to big improvements in how we serve citizens. It's about building that awareness, consciously trying to see things from different angles.
I can definitely see how just focusing on one area, like maybe trying to map out a citizen's journey through a really tangled process, could spark some real aha moments, identify fixes you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
Absolutely. By really getting the importance of seeing the service through the user's eyes, by actively asking for input from colleagues and the public, and just being willing to try new things and learn, well, public servants everywhere can help create better, more effective, more helpful services for Canadians.
So if we were to wrap this all up, what's the main message you want our listeners to walk away with about the CDS approach to service design?
I think the core message is that service design, the way CDS thinks about it, it offers this really valuable, practical framework for any public servant who wants to make a positive difference through better service delivery.
It's a toolkit for impact.
Yeah, it's about committing to understand the needs of the people we serve, working together better, and just continuously trying to make those interactions with government more seamless, more positive.
That's a really powerful way to frame it. Okay, on that note, here's a final thought for you, our listener, to maybe chew on. Think about one specific challenge you're facing right now in your work. Maybe it's a form that confuses people, a process that feels way too complicated, or just an interaction could be smoother. How might applying just one principle or skill we talked about today, just one, it's like maybe focusing on being more human-centered or trying to map the sequence from the user's view, how might that give you a new angle to tackle that challenge and create a better outcome?
And just remember, this isn't just academic theory. This comes from inside the Canadian Digital Service. It shows it's doable, it's applicable right within government. It's proof of their commitment, really, to making things better.
Great point. Well, thanks for digging deep with us today. We really hope this gave you some fresh ideas, maybe inspired you to look at the services you touch in a new light.
Hope so.
Until our next deep dive.